One of the things that was shared with us working down in North Carolina recently is a lot of folks ask us about helping with this particular form. It's called the North Carolina Permanency Planning Review and Family Service Agreement form, one of my new favorite forms in North Carolina. So I use the case that we're working from now to fill out this particular form. This form is 14 pages long. It took me just over 2 hours to do this form. So you can see I filled out with all of the information from this case record. Well, what was really interesting about this case record, this particular form, is if you scroll all the way to the very end, are these instructions that you guys have there in the great state of North Carolina. And it's how often that this form has to be done. And so workers have to do this form within the first 30 days, every 90 days, every 3 months after there's 90 days, or my favorite rule, anytime there's any other change in the family circumstance. And Lord knows the family that we work with in child and adult services, they change more often than they change their socks. So what happened when we were doing these forms, I'm going to close this and then reopen it rather than scrolling through that big thing, is workers asked us that, hey, gosh, it would be awesome if it was an easier way to do this, because 80%, maybe more, 90% of this information doesn't change that frequently. But just because mom moved and she moved again in 3 weeks and it's going to move again in 2 weeks after that, I have to redo this entire form every time there's a small change. So we asked the workers, if there was a better way to do this, how would you do it? What would you suggest? And they suggested that we simply, if there was a way to copy and make a new form, that would be ideal. So what we did is we got really super creative with this button, and we called it copy and create a new form, because that's what workers called it. So by clicking on that button, that form that was already completed is brought back to life and is now able to be edited, modified, changed. If all I need to do was simply add, change a meeting date, I can simply change that meeting date without having to do 14 pages of data entry, because it's history and it doesn't change. All that stays the same. I can finish it there, but the workers can do that without having to do the entire form again.